You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in and listening to The Real Short Box. My name is Donald.
And my name is Supreme Chancellor Kevin.
Always supreme, huh? Always better than me. I see.
No. It's not like that.
Well, whatever. We're going to be talking today about a little spotlight, a little profile on a particular director, one Mr. Zack Snyder.
That's correct.
Ooh la la. So let me ask you something, Kevin.
Sure.
Zack Snyder. Do you think that Zack Snyder was given a fair shake within the DC universe?
For the most part, although the way they ended things, I don't think was, shall we say, professional. You know, the relationship they ended with him was on a professional way, especially everything he went through. You know, I think it could have been handled better.
Yeah, was it his daughter or his son that passed?
His daughter that passed.
Yeah, that's pretty hard. But you know, I digress. Let's get to the beginning here. He was if I recall, he was a music video director once upon a time.
That's correct. You know, he comes from that generation of like Michael Bay, David Fincher, you know, people like that who were doing music videos in the 90s. So he comes from that world. And
Right.
it makes sense. If you look at his visual style, you can kind of see some of the music video aspects, you know, where he kind of basically, you know, cut his teeth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And he had a particular style that actually was very cool and really caught on with people quite well. Particularly with his first film that he did, which is a remake of the 78 film
Classic.
Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. By Romero.
Yeah, by the late great George Romero. And one thing that's cool about that movie, that's right, because you weren't working at the ArcLight yet, but you know, that's the first time I ever saw a movie where the zombies are moving fast. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. The year before that with 28 Days Later.
True.
But Dawn of the Dead, I felt they were going even faster. I mean, these zombies almost like like athletes.
Dawn of the Dead created an intensity in that film, in Zack Snyder's vision, that was unparalleled. It was really, truly frightening, and it was something that I would never, ever, like, give me them slow walking motherfuckers any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
I would take 30 slow walkers over one fast one. Just let me.
Yeah, run away. It's pretty scary, man. You got these, like I said, you got these athletic zombies coming your way. I'm like, oh boy, that's not good. I mean, and certainly you're good as dead if you're not even half in shape.
Yeah, they all act like they're trying to get into the end zone for a touchdown. You know, it's like there's this urgency about them.
Yeah, like an Olympic race or something. It's like, oh my god, yeah, that's pretty frightening. You see something like that coming your way, like, oh man, I'm really in trouble.
No, thanks, not a fan. So that really kind of did really well for Warner Brothers, and it really introduced him to the world. And Warner Brothers was very, very happy with the outcome of the film, particularly the monetization, the monetary outcome of the film. And they wanted to continue, so they decided that they would let him go ahead and do an adaptation of a Frank Miller story.
Yes.
That was originally, if I recall, it was adapted as a mini-series in the Dark Horse comic books.
Yes, the 300.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you know, loosely based on the true story of the Battle of Thermopylae, you know, with 300 Athenians taking on, you know, the massive Persian army.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, in real life, it was them, but also a few thousand other Greek soldiers that were there. I mean, still a phenomenal feat in real life, regardless. But you know, the movie had to spruce it up and make it look like only 300 men took on, you know, like 1 million Persians.
Right. Yeah, of course. And that made the career of Gerard Butler.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and not only that, you know, the ladies certainly enjoy looking at those fit men, and the men are like, man, I got to get shaped like these Athenian warriors. I'm sorry, my God, did I say Athenian? I meant to say Spartan. I meant to say Spartan.
That's okay.
Spartan Warriors.
We'll allow it for this
Yes,
this one
Spartan
time.
Warriors. Yeah, people in history would be very upset with me right now, and I'd be upset at myself. But yeah, the Spartans, the great legendary Spartan army,
Mhm.
300 of them, and the way those guys were built, the way they were fit. I mean, it got a lot of people all pumped up, and you see a lot of people cosplaying as Spartan soldiers.
Yeah, anybody that was in shape was cosplaying as Spartan soldiers. I didn't see any 300-pound people cosplaying as Spartan soldiers, although I would have liked to have, to be honest, because it's a little bit, man, it kind of, your ego takes a hit and you kind of get a little bit downtrodden when you start seeing all these buff-ass dudes walking around in these Spartan soldier outfits, that's basically wearing nothing.
Yeah, especially at the conventions, the dudes, especially if they really are fit. Yeah, it does make you feel bad. Like, oh man, I suck.
Yeah, it's like that. There's this one dude that always walks around as shirtless Wolverine, and I'm like, just put a goddamn shirt on. I know you're in shape. I'll still know you're in shape. Just put a shirt on.
Hey man, you gotta impress those ladies.
Yeah. Whatever. So we get past 300, and then we move on to something a little bit. Actually, this one to me, this was the highlight. This film, I feel, was his biggest accomplishment. He did the unthinkable. No director or writer before this thought this could be done, but he made a Watchmen movie back in 2009.
That's right. A lot of people poo-poo it. I don't think it's that bad of a movie. Matter of fact, the director's cut, even adds to it. So, people, I think it's one of those movies over time is going to get more respect.
Mm-hmm.
As time goes on, just people just need to be, watch it again and just enjoy it for what it's worth. Because yeah, we're very, very fortunate just to even get a Watchmen movie. And he did his best to faithfully adapt the book, for exception of the ending, of course, which that would not have made sense cinematically,
right?
For the book.
But they did kind of bring that in the television series for HBO. And what we're talking about, people that don't know, is the squid ending, the giant alien squid. There was supposed to be a giant alien squid that would threaten all of the world, and then the world would have to unite in order to defeat it. And that was the unifying factor. And in Zack Snyder's vision with this film, they decided to make what's his name? Jesus, why am I blanking?
It's about Ozymandias?
Yeah, no, not Ozymandias. The blue dude. Jesus.
Mr. Dr. Manhattan.
Thank you. Yeah, they decided to make Dr. Manhattan the villain in this role, the one that unifies everybody against him, because he didn't care. He thought, I'm going to go ahead and play myself out as the villain. That way everybody is thinking about defending themselves from me, and then I'll just go to the moon, fuck off to the moon, and enjoy my life, which he pretty much did, and so it was an interesting way to get rid of that squid, and it was actually brilliant in a way, because the squid's super corny. I've always thought it was super corny, and some purists and stuff, people that think comic books should stay exactly the same, as faithful to the novel or to the trade as possible. I get that. I get that there was some anger there, and I also get that some scenes weren't needed, like the Gradius sex scene between Silk Spectre and Night Owl. That did not need to happen. I understand that, but overall, man, this was a solid film. Just a great introduction.
Well acted.
Yeah, very, very well done. And it did all right. It didn't do amazing, but it did well enough that they were like, he can handle himself with a superhero film. He can do well.
Marketing was part of the problem too, because unfortunately people thought they were getting something else. It kind of reminds me of the Blade Runner movies in a way. You think it's going to be this, a certain type of action movie. You weren't expecting to have all the drama and the intrigue and the mystery. You didn't. People weren't prepared for that. They weren't expected to get like a deep film, a deep thinking film. They're thinking, it's going to be more like a kind of a brainless action movie.
Yeah, and that's not what happened. But that kind of, I don't want to say it was brainless, but the next film really kind of is very either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Is it the one that I haven't seen it? Or are you referring to it's kind of a comic book movie, but not really a comic book movie?
Yeah, it's
Sucker Punch.
Correct. Yeah, Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch did not do well in theaters, but it was kind of like they gave him that. They were like, okay, you did well with Dawn of the Dead, so we're going to give you 300. And then, he did really well with that. And they're like, oh my God, let's make a picture deal. You do Watchmen next, and then we'll let you do something. And he was like, great. So I want to do my own, vision. I want to do this movie called Sucker Punch. And I remember being at Comic-Con when it premiered and he showed the trailer and stuff. And
I was there for that.
Nobody was excited about this film except for him and a few other people.
Yeah, it was something different. It just, it's one of those things. Rather you got it or you don't. Some people are going to feel it, but you know what? Give them credit. You're executing your vision, and sometimes it just doesn't go over well with folks. But it's okay. At least you stuck to your guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they didn't lose faith in him, which is good. That's something that Warner Brothers is good about. They didn't lose faith in Zack Snyder, and he said, you know what? Okay, Sucker Punch didn't do well. Well, that was a choice that you made. Well, here's a choice that we're going to make. We want you to do a Superman film. And he was like, okay, I can do a Superman film. And so he did Man of Steel, which introduced the world to Henry Cavill as Superman. And it was a interesting film.
Up until a certain decision at the end.
Yes, and actually somebody went online and somebody went through and they recolored all of the Man of Steel to make it brighter. And I will tell you, if they do a side-by-side comparison, and it looks wonderful. I don't know if it was Zack's choice to make it so grim and dark or if it was Warner's themselves, because at the time, Christopher Nolan's grim and gritty Batman films were making buku bucks, and they were like, look, we're making billions in the box office based off this philosophy, based off this type of film.
Let's apply to Superman.
Right. Let's continue on with this if we can, Zack, and do this with the Superman films. And, so I don't know if he was kind of bullied into that, or that was a personal choice, or it was a collaborative choice. I don't know. But it just didn't work completely. Cavill's a great Superman, but Superman, in essence, is a character that needs to be brought to the light, not hidden in the darkness. He's not Batman. And they tried to make different. Superman as close to Batman as they could in this film, and it just did not work.
Right. There's a difference.
Yeah. So we have that. We have the Man of Steel and stuff, and he then basically that did really well as well. That did really good for Warner Brothers, and they were like, okay. So, that was 2013, I believe. And They said, well, I think that we need to have Zack be the creative backbone of the DC universe, which was a mistake. I think Warner Brothers was desperately looking for their version of what Marvel had.
Right. So it kind of made him a de facto Kevin Feige.
Right. And that was not what should have happened. Basically, they gave him that power, but also still made him have to direct these films. So
it's too much responsibility.
Right. You don't see Kevin in Marvel going in and directing these films.
No.
He's putting everything together. He is the creative linchpin that holds the entire universe together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Marvel's universe would be anywhere near as good as it was if it wasn't for Kevin Feige.
That's right.
So
that's right.
My hat's off to him. And it started to seem like DC wasn't going to be fun anymore. And then it got darker. They went with the vision of Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice came out in 2016.
That's right.
They went the opposite way of what Marvel did. Marvel introduced each character individually and then put them together for the Avengers. DC wanted to play catch up, so they decided to just do one or two films and then throw everybody
together. Yep.
Right. And create Justice League in the Batman versus Superman film, which was a terrible error. It was just It did not work. Now, for a lot of people, this movie's great. And for a lot of people that have seen the extended cut, they say it's much better. I have not personally seen it, and I know, Kevin, you haven't seen it either.
No, but Darren has.
But yes, Darren has. I would be willing to sit down and watch it. It's just, oof, I saw it in the theater 3 times, man. I put a lot of effort into trying to find the good in this film, and then to have to watch it again just because there's an additional like 30 or 40 minutes added to the film. I don't know if I could take it, Kevin.
Someone's got to pay you for it. That's what. So we have to pay you to watch it again.
I think so. So Warner Brothers, if you're listening, if you want to pay me to watch it, we can do some reaction shots, do a reaction video and see what I think of it. You never know. Might surprise me.
You never know.
Yeah, you just don't know. What did you find that was really good about Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice? What did you really enjoy?
Well, I underestimated the ability of Ben Affleck to play Batman, and I was actually quite impressed. He did a good job as kind of a gritty, slightly older, middle-aged version of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Plus, he's a big dude. He fit well in the suit as a big, muscular Batman. I guess that they're going for the Batman from the Dark Knight Returns look. Kind of had that kind of look to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I was impressed with that. The thing I, of course, was not impressed with was, once again, the use of CGI for the big monster, at the end of the movie, and the desecration of the Zod character and merging it with Doomsday. Wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah. I know you weren't a fan of that at all, and neither was I. And their choice for Lex Luthor.
Oh, good Lord. Don't get us started with that.
It was terrible. First of all, he was way too young. Second of all, Jesse Eisenberg, he made some comments during Comic-Con about people being such nerds about it and stuff. And maybe it was a funny way to make a comment, but it kind of rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. So they went in with a chip on their shoulder for his character. So he's probably everyone's least favorite Lex Luthor. And we're talking that, there's been some campy choices for Lex Luthor in the past, in a way.
That's true.
Or at least I think so, the way he was portrayed. But Eisenberg really, I don't think he knew the essence of the character or cared to know it. He wanted to put his own stamp on it. And that's fine for a lot of things. But when you're dealing with a comic book character that has a storied history and such a strong personality in the books, to try to do a complete 360 on the character or 180 on that character and try to go in a different direction, it just doesn't work at all.
It doesn't compute.
Right. But I will say that the casting was spot on. Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman was an excellent choice. He definitely looked the part, and he looked menacing. The dude looked like a brute. And it was well shot. Cinematically speaking, it was a beautiful film in a lot of ways. There was a lot of great scenes, like when Bruce fell down the well and then the bats kind of hovering and lifting him up. The scene where Superman confronted Batman on the rooftop with the spotlight, and it was raining, and then we started the fight scene and stuff. It was so cinematic and so well done. There's a lot to love in it visually. Story-wise, not as much. They took out Green Lantern. Apparently, Green Lantern was supposed to originally be in the story. They took him out.
That's right.
The choice for some of the characters, like, for instance, they chose Barry Allen to be the Flash, but then they cast a younger guy that acted exactly like Wally West.
Like Wally West, right?
Yeah, so that didn't make any sense. So a lot of people that were Wally West fans were a little upset by that for that reason.
Just make him Wally West. Just go with him.
A lot of people that were Barry Allen fans were upset for that reason. So it really kind of balanced on both sides for people not liking the gentleman playing the character. So,
did you like Jeremy Irons as Alfred?
I was indifferent. To be honest, I'm getting a little tired, Kevin. I'm getting a little tired of Alfred not having a goddamn mustache. Give the man a cookie crumb holder.
Funny, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that since the '60s TV show.
I know. I don't understand it. Whenever he's animated, he has a mustache, but when he's live action, he can't have a mustache. I don't understand.
Maybe
I don't understand.
all the people who played him, was it Michael Goh and Michael Caine and Jeremy Irons? Maybe they just have an issue with growing a mustache.
And they should not have been chosen for these roles. Like, I'm sorry, but there's so many good actors out there that are like, hey, I have a mustache, or hey, I don't mind growing a mustache.
John Cleese? It's like John Cleese, let's say he did it.
You know, John Cleese would have been an excellent choice. He can play very solid, strong, dramatic actor. You know, he can play those types of characters. It doesn't always have to be comedy, but he will have those snide quips that we're prone to love when it comes with Alfred. So I don't see. I think that's an excellent choice, actually, Kevin. Great casting on your part.
Oh, thank you.
But unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. Maybe down the line, I don't know. He might be getting too old at this point to even do it. I don't know.
Out of curiosity, who's playing Alfred in the Batman movie that's coming out next year?
Geez, I don't remember offhand. I have no idea. I do know that they're going with a different Jim Gordon. I know that we were having who did we have before? It was J. Jonah Jameson, the guy that played J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yes, he was supposed to do it.
He wasn't he? In like the Justice League or something, or in
that's right. He was.
He was Commissioner Gordon. And that's the guy from the Drum movie.
We'll remember in a moment.
Yeah, of course we will. But then Jeffrey.
Here he is. Andy Serkis. He's playing Alfred in the movie.
Okay, that's a really good choice, actually. And Andy Serkis will grow a mustache, or he can quite easily. So hopefully he does.
You at least hope he does.
Yeah.
You talk about J.K. Simmons. That's who we can remember for a moment.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. Thank you. Yes, he's a really nice man too, by the way.
He used to come by.
Professional.
Yeah, we used to see him a lot.
Jeffrey Wright's going to play Commissioner Gordon in this new version, if I recall, of the Batman, which is going to be exciting because Jeffrey Wright.
He's good. He's good at everything he does. You know, he plays Felix Leiter in the new Bond films. He does a good job there.
Right, he'd have been perfect.
He's great on Westworld. So yeah, he's a good actor. No matter what he does. I mean, the first time I saw him was in this movie called Syriana 15 years ago with George Clooney. It's the first time I ever saw him in a movie that at least I remember him. You know, at least the current version of him. Yeah. So, everything he does, he's good at. You know,
he's great in Westworld, and he's been great in a lot of other films too. So Jeffrey Wright's in that. So we're moving on from Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice into his next film, which I believe was right into the Justice League. So from 2016 to 2017. Yeah. I believe was it 2000.
Bit of busy man. Yeah, 2017. Yeah, busy man.
He was basically doing everything back to back at this point. So he was getting fatigued. He was exhausted.
And it was supposed to have been a 2-part movie. Remember that? It was supposed to be shot back to back.
Yeah. Yeah, so the poor guy was just inundated, overwhelmed, and then this happened with his daughter, and he had to step aside and couldn't finish filming the Justice League film. But he did give his blessing for Joss Whedon to come in.
So they say. There's been rumors that he was kind of pushed out and replaced too. So I don't know what the full truth is, but whatever it is, I still don't think everything, especially the way that thing, his movie was redone, shall we say? So you didn't get to see his full vision. At least let his full vision be put out there, and then let it fall flat on his face if that's to be the case, rather than interfere. Because you see some actors now are coming out kind of telling how Joss Whedon was just kind of intentionally disrespecting his material, apparently.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that's not the case.
I hope not. I find it hard to believe, but but in any case, just the fact that they interfered with his original vision, he should have stuck with it. And then,
he's getting a chance now, to correct that with the HBO Max. They're going to do the Snyder Cut, which is funny because for years people have hashtagged release the Snyder Cut. And that they wanted to see his vision of the Justice League film, which is funny because a lot of people hated Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, and they hated the Justice League film when it came out.
Mhm.
So if he fully directed Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, and he, almost fully directed Justice League, I don't know what they think they're going to get from this uh, HBO Max Snyder cut. I just don't know what they think they're going to get from that.
Well, they're adding stuff too, so apparently he's back. Probably doing some reshoots here and there.
Of
So,
course. Here's the
so
thing. Also, you have to keep in mind is that he's going to say that this was his original vision, but it probably wasn't. He's going to be able to be, if he's smart enough, he's going to be able to know that there were mistakes made, and people didn't like, and that people didn't like, and so on and so forth, and course correct that.
Because follow the George Lucas path in a way, like, let me go.
Because Warner Brothers is throwing money at him, and he could be like, okay, I can shoot this scene. Okay, I can have Darkseid in this. Okay, I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. Which is great. So we'll see. I'll be curious to see it, and I think everybody else will also. We'll see how it goes, but I don't really have any high hopes for it, to be honest.
Well, here's the funny thing. If it actually works out and they make a ton of money from it on HBO Max, then it makes you wonder: is the Snyder DCU back on the table, so to speak? Because AT&T, apparently forced the hand of Warner Brothers to do this. So what if it works out? It's a big successful hit. Do they now go back and say, okay, full speed ahead?
Yeah. Do we go back to Snyder's vision? And what I'm hoping is we can have a mix. Like, we can have these darker films if we need be for some things. But I feel like DC's really struggled to get away from that, particularly with Shazam and with Aquaman, both relatively successful. Aquaman was actually a huge hit.
Wonder Woman right before that.
Wonder Woman right before that, which was a mix. It had some darker tones, but it had some light too. Right. And this Wonder Woman 84, that'll be coming out whenever, who knows at this point.
But those movies, the movies have feel good. You feel good.
Right.
They're not depressing.
Exactly, and that's what we want. We want to feel good coming out of a movie. We want the rewatchability of a film that you feel good coming out of. You don't want to be devastated walking out of a film and go, okay, let's get some ice cream. It's just not the way that a lot of people want to be in life. And particularly right now, with our what we're dealing with globally and within the U.S. Especially, there's a lot of depression just hovered over everyone's heads, a lot of people's heads. And no one wants a depressing universe like this. They want happy, they want enjoyment, and they want to live through these characters. Superheroes are supposed to be superheroes. They're supposed to be fun, and enjoyable. There has to be a rewatchability to it.
Absolutely. That's actually where you really make your money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely where you make your money. And, just so everybody knows, he's had his fingers in a lot of pies in this DC world. He was a co-screenwriter for 300 Sucker Punch, 300 Rise of an Empire. He was an executive producer for Suicide Squad and Aquaman, and Suicide Squad as well. And as co-writer of the story for Wonder Woman and Justice League, and producer of Wonder Woman 1984. So he's done a lot. Also, Kevin, you were saying he's got something else coming down the line too.
Yeah, apparently at some point in the pipeline, Army of the Dead, sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
That'll be fascinating to see an older Zack Snyder's vision on something that was his first breakout hit.
That's true. Especially now, he'll be 55 years old in March.
Yeah.
So, as someone who, he's done a lot in a very relatively, I wouldn't say relatively short period of time, but over basically a 16-year period. He has accomplished a lot.
Boy, it does not seem that long. Time really flies, especially when you're in the film world and stuff. Things really go by fast.
Yeah, because I remember when that movie came out, the first one, Dawn of the Dead. I remember it very well.
Right. Dawn of the Dead had a $26 million budget, and it ended up getting, I believe, in the box office, it was over $100 million easily at that time, which is great, for a company like Warner Brothers to have that kind of profitability, that kind of profit.
Yep. So smiles to faces.
Right. Like 300 was 65 million for a budget, and I think it made almost 500 million. So it's insane. They just kept getting better and better. But with that, I think we're gonna end this on Mr. Zack Snyder. So, Mr. Zack Snyder, if you're listening to our podcast for some strange reason, we appreciate a lot of your films. We hope that you do, or you have learned from some of the mistakes along the way and improve upon yourself and in the direction of some of these films. So I'm
cheering for him. I'm cheering for him. I hope that Justice League, this HBO Max director's cut, is actually good. I hope it's outstanding, and I want to sit back. I want to sit back and enjoy it, especially if they show Darkseid, introduce him, they show the Green Lantern or some other characters I missed out on. I'm more than happy to sit back and enjoy it and pay a little bit of money to watch it.
That'll be an exciting time. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for tuning into This is the Real Short Box. My name is Donald.
And my name is Kevin.
And please subscribe to us on YouTube. We're under Rumble Spoon Productions on YouTube, a lovely little production company that does fund our podcast. We are also on Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio, soon to be on Amazon Podcast, amongst a host of others. So please seek us out. It'll be worth it, I hope, for you, and definitely will be worth it for us. We do like our listeners. If you have questions, comments, anything like that, reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook. We have both of those under the Real Short Box. And if we don't hear from you, maybe we'll see you out and about, and sometime we'll see you
at the lovely, sweet, precious comic book shop.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a good night.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.